This time on Jairus of All.
Edgar the Dummy. A dummy. A man never alive. Took quite a beating. Gentlemen, I can rebuild him. I have the technology, the capability to remake the internet's finest test dummy. With his new name, Steve the Dummy will be that dummy. Better than he was before. Better. Stronger. Dumber.
This time on Jairus of All, I rebuild Edgar the Dummy, who will henceforth be known as Steve the Dummy, in honor of Steve Austin, $6 Million Man, because he's going to be the 6 million piece of duct tape dummy man. And that means it's time for an origin story. Originally, this dummy wasn't meant to be a test dummy at all. It was meant to be a mannequin for me to be able to build stuff on. I had some friends over to help me cover myself in duct tape. I saw people do it to make a mannequin of their top half, but I wanted my whole body so that I could build all sorts of craziness on it. Especially the Halloween costume, which was my very first project for YouTube. I'm gonna splint his legs because his knees are floppy and they are not supposed to be. All the parts of the human body are not round, which is where the problem started with this dummy, which is why I don't use it to build stuff on, because it's not the same shape as I am. When the foam expanded, it would force equally in all directions, so parts of your body, like your calves, where they're more triangle shaped, would end up turning into circles. Dang it. Which means I can't fit anything to it because humans don't have just round parts for everything. Edgar here was supposed to be something that I could build on and ended up not being that, and I almost threw him away. But I had so much money in duct tape and squirt foam that I didn't, and I'm glad, because I got to use him for a lot of projects. First thing that I built on YouTube was the Super Sledge. And then I hit the button. That is so awesome. You better believe that Edgar got used for that. Roll the footage. When you put this expanding foam in stuff, once it starts to solidify, it continues to expand and grow. But I want to hold them relatively straight for now, because the more it gets moved around, the less it expands in the long run. The activator for this stuff is moisture, so I need to shoot water into his knees first before I put the foam in. It's dirty water, but it'll do. This thing has been filled with spiders for a while. Kind of freaks me out, cutting a hole in it and then putting my finger inside. Oh wait, upside down. Wait, shake it. I need to cover the fill holes. It's definitely gonna leak out. I'm not trying to stop that. I just want it to be able to develop enough pressure that it pushes the legs back into shape. Goodbye, floppy-legged Edgar. Hello, stiff-legged Steve. There's a spider right there. See him? Where is he? Oh, you saw him for just a second. Told you he's filled with spiders. When I first made it, I used cheap duct tape and it didn't hold any form at all. There we go. So when I went to cut this whole suit off, it basically just fell apart because the duct tape was so not sticky, it would barely even stick to itself, which I know it's not supposed to because that's how it comes off the roll, but still, you'd think it would be sticky enough for at least to hold together a little bit. I think there was more of a void in these knees than I thought. I think I need more foam in there. There's gotta be enough in there now. Edgar has been a fantastic stand-in for ballistic gel dummies and all that other stuff that everybody always requests on videos that cost an absolute fortune to make or to buy. He has been worth his weight in gold, or duct tape and foam. Power Fist, which also got used on him, didn't really do a whole lot because it's just an impact thing. I don't want to do this. The waist fell apart entirely when I made this thing. And normally your waist is shaped like that. It's not a circle. But it became a circle when the foam expanded, and then normally your legs are here. Your legs are still a circle. The legs ended up being wider than the hips. Couldn't get this part to go together. The major unforeseen issue with this is by sticking a pole up through the bottom of him so that it holds him up straight. Doesn't really work out very well because there's no space between his legs. Since I'm not ever going to build anything on this because it's not my shape, doesn't matter. The assumption was when I made this that all of the sweat from being sealed in a duct tape capsule from head to toe would be enough moisture to make the foam set up. And it was not. I ended up having to cut a whole bunch of holes and squirting water inside after I'd put the foam in. Last piece of T-Rex tape. That stuff's so strong, it feels like it's gonna take your skin off whenever you're trying to rip it apart. Not sponsored, just really strong stuff. This'll have to do for now though. After Edgar took on the Power Fist and the Super Sledge, he took on the Fire Tornado Gun. You're starting to be able to see remnants of what happened to him from that.
We're gonna shoot Bryce with it. What?
I'm gonna try to rebuild the connection between the leg and body here. Fire Tornado Gun really didn't have a huge impact, and my tanks were almost out of propane and I didn't realize it, so I wasn't making nearly as big a flame as I was at other points in the video. Still good footage though. That was the hard part. I gotta create the space for the underpan here. Looking back on how many rolls of duct tape I got to make this thing in the first place, it would have been worth it to just buy a couple rolls of good stuff instead of a whole bunch of rolls of crap. On the next project that used the dummy, I wanted to do a Monty Python spoof when I made a sword out of a wrench. Something's missing. Haha! The build video didn't go that well, which looking back at it is not incredibly surprising considering most people probably aren't buying a giant combination wrench to try to turn it into a sword with simple hand tools, but it was a fun project, and the test video was a lot of fun also. I had a great time doing it because I love Monty Python. Edgar here got to be the Black Knight. When I start filling this thing with foam, it's gonna be a game of plug the hole to keep the foam from shooting out all over the place. Good thing the knees are starting to set up. He's got a big gap down there. I'm gonna have to close that up, otherwise he'll be pooping foam out. Oh man, I left a huge gap down there. I didn't realize how ripped apart this is. Sorry, Edgar/Steve, no time to shape a butt. Time for some injections. I saved all the chunks from when he got destroyed by the Buster. That way I wouldn't have to use as much foam. I don't even know where this came from. That looks good. The wrench sword is when Edgar started to come apart. And I chopped his arms off. I chopped his legs in half. And that's why his knees are floppy, and I had to go through all that down there. I considered throwing the old guy away after I chopped him into pieces with the wrench sword. Part of why I did it, because I was gonna throw him away. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So he lived on, and I just taped him back together, like I'm doing now. Most people know about the Fat Man in the video game Fallout. Most people don't know that you can modify the Fat Man to shoot a bowling ball, and then it's called the Striker. Or maybe you just get one that shoots bowling balls. I can't remember. But since you can't shoot nuclear bombs out of a little thing that tosses something, which is ridiculous, I decided that the Striker would be more awesome. Who doesn't want to shoot bowling balls out of something?
No, I'm gonna shoot Bryce with it. What? Are you ready, Bryce? Yeah.
As far as permanent damage goes, that didn't really do much to him at all. But then again, he is made of foam. But he did take a significant beating when he met my Plumbus baseball bat, which is a collaboration with a friend of mine from Australia. His YouTube channel is called Friggin' Boom Toys, and it was gonna be a mashup between Rick and Morty and Fallout, because we're both fans of both. The pieces are then permanently affixed to the Grumbo, which he then rubs and spits on. The interesting part of the collaboration was that we weren't allowed to tell each other what we were building. We were just going to build something and then show it to each other and see what we came up with. I don't know if I've mentioned this or not, but all these videos are going to be linked in the description, and I'll have a playlist at the end of the video too, that way you can continue watching this, you know? All right, this is where he needs to start getting built out, I believe. The shoulders are destroyed also. Might look like he's getting close, but it is not there. More bits. Oh, there's a piece of the support pipe that he was sitting on. Stabbed him doing focus thrust with the Buster sword. I actually went through and shattered the PVC pipe that was holding him up. Woo! Violence action. Stick some filler in. It's kind of hard to tell if I'm making this thing the right shape or not, because I'm walking around the table. It's probably hard for you to see. It's hard for me to tell what's going on. None of us have any idea. That's not gonna work. I'm gonna have to do something about that. Oh, that's sticking out too much. I see now. Okay, just gonna have to get his shoulder down to his leg. Now that this is getting somewhat closed up, it's time to give it a little bit of... Oh, gotta keep her upside down. Woo! A little much right there. Keep it from expanding out too much. Just run piece around like that. Probably my favorite scene that I've ever done with this dummy is when I turned myself into Endeavor from My Hero Academia. It was Edgar's birthday party, and I ruined it.
I guess I could light the candles on the cake. Yeah. And pop balloons.
I wonder how that would work.
Happy birthday! Blow up candles.
Of all the projects and weird things that I've done, that Endeavor project was probably the most impactful on me. To be able to shoot that much fire out of my hands, you know, like whenever I wanted to, is the closest that I've ever felt to being a superhero. I love that project. I plan on redoing it and making it substantially better, and other My Hero Academia stuff. To this point though, I haven't seen anybody do anything like that where they can shoot fire like that. Now I can't make a statement like that without putting my money where my mouth is and showing you exactly what I mean. I am pretty proud of that project. Well, I don't see any leaks so far. Ew. I don't see one, but I just touched one. Stay there. Stay there. Get some real surgery going on now.
Should strap it.
Oh, there's another cut up there. Oh, there's another cut right there. I'm gonna have to inject. Get in there. His shoulder's hollow. That's no good. Oh, it's coming out the arm. For the most part, everything that I've done to this thing, all the projects that I've used on it, there's only one that surprised me that it did as much as it did to it. And that was definitely the Broadsider. Because that thing just shoots 4-inch tennis balls. This thing has held up to a lot, and when I shot it with the Broadsider, it blew a hole in its chest the size of that 4-inch tennis ball. And it almost put the tennis ball the whole way through it, which was massively impressive. Did not think that would happen. I think it's time to unsplint the legs. Meant to do it. Yeah, those knees are working out. It's good, it's good. This arm needs shot full also. Come on. There's one spot on the arm that's still almost chopped in half that we missed when we were taping him back together during the Buster Sword test. The Buster Sword is 1.25 inches thick, so it's difficult for that blade to go in very far because it's trying to separate dense foam. But it did cut extremely deep. It was difficult to see in most of the shots because he would close back up immediately after being hit by the sword. But a lot of the shots where it bounced off, when we looked at it up close, there was actually, you know, deep cut where it looked like the sword had just bounced off and not cut at all. I tested this thing with the Blades of Chaos also, and that was basically the same thing. They looked like they were bouncing off as well, and I thought I had taped up all of the cuts from the Blades of Chaos before I started doing the Buster Sword test, and I had not. We found some monster splits down through the shoulders when we went to tape him up the first time, where I knew I hadn't hit him with the Buster Sword yet. Those were a huge amount of fun to use, but they also required an immense amount of effort. Oh, his hand is split in half. If this thing had turned out exactly my size, it would have made a lot of projects a lot faster. I'd love to get 3D scans so I could print myself, so I could build on myself. I haven't found a place that is near me that'll do that though. So most places that do that are like gyms, and they only do it if you become a member of the gym. Not willing to do that. I'm not gonna get a membership at a gym that's 3 hours away. That makes no sense. I think it's time to flip old Edgar over. Go? Oh yeah, there's some holes. You aren't done yet, buddy. The Buster Sword did the most damage to this thing. And it was awesome, and I love that thing. Whew, getting there. I'm running out of duct tape real quick. All right, there's a port. Time for a little injection down under. Skin on my fingers is starting to hurt from ripping pieces of this tape off. I already lost a lot of skin off my fingers earlier. I was playing with super glue. Now they're really getting sore. I actually use duct tape to remove super glue when I get it on my fingers. If you have strong duct tape like this, or especially T-Rex tape, put the duct tape on, and if you pull it off real fast, it peels the super glue off. If you're willing to do that. If you do that and it pulls the skin off your fingers, then you shouldn't have done it. And I didn't tell you to. I just said that it works for me. I need to build this side out too. This leg's still sticking out too far. I'll have to see how much I have left, if I can do that or not. Make him even. More injection. Get all the foam off my Patreon names. It's going everywhere. Speaking of Patreon names, the people on there that support me are the ones that make these builds possible. Well, I mean, not this one specifically. This was a couple cans of foam and a roll of duct tape. For the most part, they make this channel possible, and I owe them a huge thank you. And if you would like to be part of that group, links in the thing down there. I'm sure you can find it if you actually want to. It's leaking. I want these parts to inflate, not leak the foam out. See how it's all sunken in right there? Nobody's hips do that. It looks completely unnatural. And I think I might have enough to make that even, because I still need to glue the head on. Need to fill that pocket. Oh man, it's gonna be close. Turn them over this way. Ooh, let's do some water. There's the end of the roll. Need some more tape. I'll find something that'll work. Here we go. Grip tape. Keep this from expanding out too far. Hold the ends down, that way it doesn't blow the duct tape off. Stuff isn't as sticky as duct tape, that's for sure. I'll take his little support thing and I'll put that in there too. It'll be like a neck bone or something. Obviously the neck is way too big. Whoops. Yeah. Try to fix some of this now though. See if I can get that neck pulled together a little bit. Okay. So I'm gonna tape his face to his chest to keep him lined up. Should be well enough supported now that I can try to get his neck. How do I want to do this? I need to be on the dummy's neck, not the neck. No. I need to be on the neck part of the head, not the neck part of the body. You're almost there. Rapidly running out of all of the tape. Trying to tape your face back together. Cooperate. There we go. That was yesterday. I'm glad that that's done. Guess who's back in business? Steve Austin, the 6 million piece of duct tape man. His knees are so stiff he already stands on his own. He's a little lopsided now. I didn't realize it was that bad when he was on the healing table. It's all right though. It just adds to his appeal. Super ultra beat up dummy. I think he's the internet's best dummy though. And if he does have foam leaking out of his stomach. Do you want to do the outro or should I? Well, go ahead. Your tape's coming off right there. I gotcha. Oh, that's why you can't do the outro. His mouth's taped shut. I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna start another major build, right? Say goodbye. Don't be a jerk. Oh, that's right, the tape thing.